Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Pedro Caixinha is unveiled as the new Rangers manager and has set his sights on winning the Scottish Cup. Brendan Rodgers reveals Rangers defender Clint Hill thought Celtic should have had a penalty in yesterday's Old Firm draw. And Gordon Strachan names his Scotland squad for the forthcoming matches against Canada and Slovenia. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted to say our Monday Bootroom guest is Mark Guidi. Mark and Alan will, of course, digest the weekend's football for us, but our first port of call is Ibrox Stadium, where earlier today Rangers unveiled their new manager, Pedro Caixinha. Of course, there was a lot made of the fact that he might not know the Scottish game, but the new Rangers boss revealed he will be looking for a local assistant.
It's not a new thing for me, because this is the third time I'm having a foreign experience or abroad, working abroad. So when I went to Mexico, because of that, I asked for an assistant local coach in order to be, let's say, the coach assistant, the club's assistant. And with that, it's like one guy to make the bridge in order to help us to know everything, but also to apply our philosophy. So that's what we want from this type of situations.
I'm sure there'll be a few local candidates, Mark Guidi, offering their help.
There will be, there won't be a shortage. It's an attractive job. It's a chance to go in and be part of something new that's happening at Rangers under Pedro Caixinha. Off the top of my head, I think it'd be somebody to be out of work at the moment. Peter, Barry Ferguson, an Alec Ray. They say somebody else thinks somebody like an Ali McCoy is great as well for that kind of role. Whether there'll be an avenue back to Rangers at the moment, I don't know. But there's certainly plenty of candidates, and it'll be an important role to fulfil alongside Caixinha.
Of course, the manager was quick to emphasise that he wants to try and win his first trophy as early as 75 days from now, the Scottish Cup, and he also wants to make sure that they push Aberdeen all the way in the battle for second place. But I think the main priority, certainly from the Rangers fans' point of view, will be trying to wrestle the title away from Celtic. And he was asked about closing the gap on the current SPFL champions.
By a lot of work, but of course football is not only about work. As I told you, the main actors from this business, we can call it like that, are the footballers. So we also going to need some investment, and investment, of course, we are discussing about those things. It's not the time to present you all the details regarding to that, but of course we are going to have also time to prepare everything in order to try not to reduce the gap the way you are saying the gap exists, but the way we want it to be reduced.
So that's the big task. He's going to have investment. The board are going to have to find money for him, and then hope that he spends it wisely, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think that's from a football and fans' point of view, that's the excitement of a new manager coming in. Where is he going to identify players from? And generally, when a new manager comes in, he goes back to places where he's been and identifies players that he's liked being with. Or maybe seeing, it might be some people from Portugal, it might be Mexico, who knows? But as a fan, you'll be excited and waiting in that first signing coming in to see what kind of level that the players that he's going to bring in are going to be.
Yep, okay. We will hear from Gordon Strachan and his Scotland squad announcement today in the second part of the programme. Of course, Caixinha is the new Rangers manager. He was in the stand yesterday as Celtic and Rangers locked horns in the East End of Glasgow. It finished 1-1. What did you make of it, Mark?
I thought that Rangers thoroughly deserved a draw. I thought they played well, they were well organised, credit to Graham Murty, and if you compare that performance yesterday and the tactical discipline shown by the players compared to Matt Warburton's, where it was a bit gung-ho, that's what you've got to do when you go to Celtic Park. There's no shame in it, because there you leave, what do? Would you rather leave with a 1-1 than a 5-1 defeat? So they've left with a point. It was deserved, they played well, and it gives them hope for the Scottish Cup semi-final. That said, for Celtic, I thought Celtic were sloppy yesterday, particularly in the second half. I didn't think Dembele held the ball up well enough. Sinclair didn't get involved. So I think it'll be a bit of a wake-up call for Brendan Rodgers and his players too, just in terms of there is a bit of work to be done if they want to go and get the treble. But I think they should have had a penalty at the end of the game. I don't think there's any doubt that Clint Hill comes across Lee Griffiths before he makes contact with the ball. But I totally understand why Bobby Madden didn't give it. And if you think back to the St Johnstone Celtic game, when Craig Thompson refereed the penalty kick for the handball that was never a handball, Craig Thompson guessed. So you can't guess. So clearly Bobby Madden hasn't spotted the infringement because he's back to the play. He's 25 yards off it. It was a penalty, but I totally understand why it wasn't given.
Okay, I think a lot of Rangers players deserve credit, Hill and Danny Wilson, because much maligned that back line, and they stood up well to the players that were quiet in that Celtic lineup, Ruffy.
Yeah, I have to say that I thought that game was similar to the game at Ibrox. I thought Rangers came out the traps very, very quickly, as they did at Ibrox. They got a goal that time, they never got it this time. I think you have to give credit to Graham Murphy for setting out his stall. He identified the two players that hurt him the last time, and he stopped them playing. You know, when it was a level pegging at Ibrox, the two people that stood up and won the game were Sinclair and Dembele. So this time he doubled up in Sinclair and he put an old-fashioned centre-half with Dembele, and Dembele wasn't up for it. And you have to give boy Hill credit. He went for every ball, 50-50s, he won them all. And I think Dembele just chucked it.
Yeah, I read some of the papers this morning. Obviously, everybody's got an opinion on it. I think the general feeling, depending on, of course, I'm talking from people who can look at it without any real, passion towards one side or the other. Charlie Richmond, the ex-ref, says, the ref got the call right by the finest of margins. I've studied the incident repeatedly, analysed it on a freeze frame like a forensic examiner working a crime scene. So I looked at that and I thought to myself, that's great. We'll hire Quincy and Dexter. Even a Russian astronaut could have seen that was a penalty. I think Mark's got a good point on the positioning. But
okay, you go by the positioning, but I mean, I know we keep harping back to rugby. If a referee isn't sure, he goes to the next port of call, which is the linesman, who's on line with probably a better view than him. Why not give yourself a bit of time and just say, okay, I never saw that, but he might have a better view than me, so I'll go over and have a wee chat with him, have a wee chin wag, what do you think, blah, 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 agree with him or disagree with him, and give yourself a chance to say, I never saw it, so I'm not giving it.
Yeah. Here's the call from Brendan Rodgers on the decision.
It's very, especially when Clint Hill tells me that he got away with it, on the pitch. So that's even more, Clint's a good guy, good fella, honest fella, and I know when he says it, he knows he got away with one. So, but probably everyone's seen it apart from the referee.
Okay, here's Lee Griffiths' take on whether it was a penalty or not.
It's a penalty. He's not touched the ball. He's asked me after if he touched the ball, and the ref said that he's asking me, he's like, did he touch the ball? And if he's not touched the ball, he's got to give a penalty or book me for diving. But I'm going to put the ball in the back of the net. If you look back, he's caught me waist height. He's not touched the ball. But it's a decision that's done me now. It's cost us 3 points in the end, really.
I think the last word on this has to go to Clint Hill.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, and obviously being here at their place, you probably would. You might 9 times out of 10 you might give it, but it was a last ditch everything, just to try and get the ball. I don't know if we got it or not, but hopefully we deserved a bit of luck over the course of the game. Pleased for everybody involved that we got a point and a positive result.
Okay, I think I'm going to cut to the chase here. I think Rangers deserve tremendous credit, Ruffy, because there was a number of pundits who were saying they were going to get hammered. That didn't materialise.
No, it didn't. I didn't think it would either. I thought Celtic would have won the game, but as I said earlier, I don't think enough players turned up for them. Yes, you have to give Rangers all the credit, as Mark said there. They were disciplined, they were organised. I know a lot of people are picking people out. Nobody's mentioned Kenny Miller. I thought Kenny Miller was outstanding in the role that he was given there. And I think at the end of the day, but the only people that were celebrating at the end were the Rangers supporters.
Yep, absolutely. So you can give us your view on that at Peter and Ruffy as well. What do you make of the new Rangers manager? And you can also give us your thoughts, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. And we'll read out your messages over the course of the week as well. Join us after the break. We will hear from Gordon Strachan, the Scotland manager, on his squad announcement. But we thought we'd leave you with a wee question, the aforementioned Lee Griffiths. Not quite as many as the 40 from last season, but that's how many guesses Mark and Ruffy had trying to get the answer to that one. 14 Lee Griffiths. Gordon Strachan was speaking today ahead of those two matches coming up, the friendly against Canada and Slovenia. Here's a look at the squad. He seems fairly excited about a number of players that he thinks can add to the team over the course of the two games. First and foremost for you guys, and he's been very excited about some of the players that he's drafted in there. Stuart Armstrong, we expected, Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth, and Fulham's Tom Kearney, guys.
Yeah, Kearney's been terrific for Fulham, and if you speak to any of his teammates or any of his managers, then you know he is a top player. Whether he's good enough to go right in, I don't know, but I think Gordon Strachan will certainly take a look at him. In the Canada game at Easter Road, Ryan Fraser's made an impact at Bournemouth, particularly coming off the bench, and Stuart Armstrong, well, we're seeing him every week up here, and he's been absolutely terrific for Celtic. He had another outstanding game yesterday for them against Rangers, and then there's a few of the predictable ones, and they're just interesting, Peter, the key to it again, and they must beat Slovenia. If they don't beat Slovenia, they're out, bottom line. Even if it's a draw, they're still out. Is who's his central defensive partnership? And I think it'll be Charlie Mulgrew and one other.
Yep, this is what Gordon Strachan had to say about the new faces.
Their ability, and I'm sure the excitement of being in the squad, they'll bring that enthusiasm as well. They deserve it. Over the last 5 months, watched a lot of football, and Tom and Stuart in particular played very well, and Ryan. There's other players who've played well at this particular point in these positions, but I just think it's right for these guys to come in just now because they deserve it.
Armstrong, over the last 4 months, he's now at the stage where I think Celtic fans look at him and think he's got to be in a starting lineup.
Yes, well, yesterday it was very evident. Yesterday, when he went off, you know, the whole game changed. It just shows you once he got into the game, you know, he showed us a bit of quality that he's got. Again, he gives you something that some of the other midfielders don't have. He gets forward, he gets run about the box. He's quite happy with a shot and score goals. So yeah, I think he'll give Gordon something to think about. It would be interesting to see if there's anybody for the Canada game forces themselves into the main squad, because Gordon's pretty loyal, you know, with the players that he's got, stands by the tried and trusted. I'd like to see the big Leipzig boy getting a game at Canada and see it, and if he could maybe force himself in if he had a really good game against Canada, to give him something to think about, because I think when we come to play Slovenia, we've got to be on the front foot. None of this, you know, sitting midfielders and everything. We've got to play with attacking players and go and try and win this game.
Yeah, you're just steeped in the 70s, aren't you, Ruffy? The big Leipzig boy. Yeah. Oliver Burke, just in case the Burke family get upset that you haven't remembered him. I think you're right though, but I do think Ruffy's got 2 or 3 options that could change the look of this side. You know, Mark's talked about the quality of, you know, down south with Fraser at Bournemouth. I think that, and Armstrong's qualities, I think he's got options to change the look of this Scotland side for that must-win game against Slovenia.
Yeah, I think he's got options. There's no doubt about that, and Gordon's very impressed by people who impress him when they meet up, you know, and when they work like Monday to Friday, or the time that he's got them together. and he judges them, you know, when they're playing obviously bounce games or how they're coping with playing with different players and all that kind of thing. So he might be influenced by that. Maybe you don't have to turn it up in a game, you just have to turn it up in the training sessions. But it's a massive, he's got to get the team right, and I keep saying, we've got to be in the front foot, we've got to play attacking players who can score goals.
Yep, win or bust, here's what the manager had to say.
So there's no getting away from that fact. So it's must win. But we're looking forward to that challenge. And I think the fans will be looking forward to it as well, that challenge of going to a game where you must win. So together, we can make it a right good night for us. As I said, with the younger players coming in, more experienced players, the fans turning up, we give the support which they've always given us, but we really need it on that night. Because the guys will be prepared, I'm sure the fans will be prepared, and we're looking to put on a right good performance.
Yep, absolutely. Gordon Strachan talking there about Scotland. Just want to go back to a couple of other stories to get your thoughts before we finish tonight, lads. One of them came out earlier was Rangers chairman Dave King has been forced to make an offer to buy remaining shares. This is by the takeover panel. So they believe that he and others acted together to force their way into the Ibrox boardroom, and they're looking for him to, basically offer 20 pence a share by April 2017. This is something that Dave King is going to take his time, obviously seek some counsel on it, but he's certainly not happy that they're going to have to make a cash offer to other shareholders. I wonder if that would have an impact financially. Difficult one to call because, most of us are football people. I wonder if it would have an impact financially on Pedro Caixinha and what he has available if he's forced down this road.
Well, it could do, yeah. I mean, if you're talking a hefty sum at stake that you have to, take up, you're duty bound to do it, and it has to be done. Then, yeah, it could have an impact, Peter, particularly when you're looking to bring in a director of football as well, somebody increase your scouting staff. And look, as we've said, it's now we know it's Pedro Caixinha, but regardless of who the new Rangers head coach is going to be, the biggest thing that they need, the biggest thing you've got to give them a chance is funding, and they've got to be able to go out there and wheel and deal. There's not huge assets in the Rangers playing staff, so it's not like you're sitting there with somebody that you can go and sell for 6, 7, 8, 9 million quid. There's nobody there that can do that. So he's really going to have to be clever in the market, and the Rangers board, as best they can, without putting themselves into any trouble, have to give him funds to give him a chance of being successful. Yeah.
Of the games at the weekend, Ruffy, he's come in for a bit of criticism, so I'm here to highlight the praise for Ian Cathro's side. They defeated Hamilton Accies by 4-0. It could have been 8.
Yes, we saw Hamilton Accies at Ibrox the week before, and they're on a heavy beating there as well. And yeah, I think we all know there's good players at Hearts. They just need to turn the corner. For me, I think the supporters have been incredible. I haven't heard any moaning at all for the results that haven't been happening for them, so all credit to them.
Yeah, and Mark, you were at the game. The general story coming out of it, certainly from Goncalves and others, is the fact that they've had these team bonding sessions, which has brought them all closer together, and this could be the turning point. I mean, I could have told Ian Cathro the best way to get team bonding is everybody goes out and has a right good night out. Gets blittered.
A long lunch. It was a terrific performance from Hearts. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. Sam Nicholson, Jamie Walker, Esma Gonçalves, all terrific. Gary Woods had a really good game on a good 45 minutes, kept the score down. But Gonçalves is right, and Ian Cathro and his assistant Osman McPhee. It's a new group, Peter, so it's going to take time to gel. But the other thing for me as well that they thoroughly enjoyed on Saturday was a new surface. And credit to Anne Budge and the board. They spent the best part of 150 grand to bring the new surface in from Germany. They got it put down, and it was like a pre-season game, July, August. It was a lovely day, great surface to go and play football on, and the Hearts players responded to it.
Yep, absolutely. Aberdeen, second place, Ruffy. They had left it late against Motherwell, but I don't think Rangers are going to catch them.
No, they're not playing as well as what they were at the beginning of the season, but they're getting results, and that's all you want. To put keep putting points on the board. It'll make it difficult. I think it will be exciting, you know, when the split comes. I think there are games that have a lot to play for, Hearts, Aberdeen and Rangers, so I think it'll be exciting.
Here's the table from the Premiership to see how it all is looking. Top, fairly straightforward. If Aberdeen lose next week, Celtic can win the title at Dundee. The bottom end, equally tight. You could pick, anyone from 4, Mark?
Yes, you certainly can. Yeah, you know, 2 from 4, 1 straight down, 1 in the playoff. Just watching Hamilton there on Saturday, Peter, they're really, really up against it.
Okay, thanks to Mark Guidi for joining us here on the programme. And of course, don't forget you can interact with us. We like to read out positive messages on Facebook, some negative ones as well. We get pelters on Twitter too. Don't forget @Peter and Ruffy, and also on facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. And big thank you to the person who posted a messages to us saying, is that a Fitbit that Ruffy's got on his wrist? Is he at it? Is he having a laugh? Ruffy, you're counting the steps, aren't you? In the studio and out of the studio.
Yes, it just gives you a target to go for. You know.
10 pints or 12.
Yeah, absolutely. On that, we're off, all of us now, counting the steps. Good night.